I'm going to move to my other location. This is like, I was just signing in a little early at my desk.
You what?
This isn't my actual normal Zoom location. This is my desk. You've been, oh yeah, one time you were at my studio for real.
Yeah, I was here. I saw your desk.
I'm going to go around the corner to my Zoom room / painting studio.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to turn this off so I don't make you dizzy. All right, and I'm going to bring my electricity too. The last couple times I've signed in, I don't know what it was. It was just like taking forever. So I thought, after I had that first scare.
Oh, yeah.
Oops, starting incorrectly.
Medora Fry's on the phone.
Huh?
Medora Fry's on the phone. Hey, Medora.
Hey, what's going on?
I'm about to go on Connect and Create with Karina.
Oh, really? Okay.
Hi, Medora.
It's her little talk show.
Yeah, her talk show.
When is that? You mean you're going to be live or you're?
Yeah, we're going to be live at 12:30.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You should come on, Medora.
I'm going to ask your opinion on an interview that I offered to do with someone, but now I think that maybe I don't really want to do it. Because I didn't realize they were so green. I had seen their work at the Biennial, and I'm just going to assume that somebody who does work at the Biennial has some kind of career or history.
Yeah.
And then they sent me a link to their videos.
Uh-huh.
They have 4 videos they've made, and then their CV, they don't have a CV, they just have it written as a paragraph what they've done.
Yeah.
And
you want to talk about it? You want to talk about it later today?
Yeah, call me or text me after you get done, and I'll see if I can get on. Is it on Instagram?
It's on Facebook.
Okay, I'll try and find it then.
Okay,
The
cool.
links usually, the links in my, the link should be
I sent
in
a link to you as an invite, I think. So
You
check
did?
well, if you're on Facebook.
I'm on Facebook. How did I miss that?
Oh, I don't know. I never see those things.
Post it on your page.
It's on there. Yeah, it's on my
Okay,
page.
I'll go there.
Yeah, log
I'll
on
go
with
there.
us. Cool. Thanks for the
Cool.
support.
Okay.
Bye.
Hi, Medora.
See, you're not the only one that does that.
What?
Me. It's funny. So I'm gonna turn up so I can hear. I want to see if I can, I don't want to share screen. I want to share the PowerPoint.
Okay.
So how do I do that?
I usually share screen to share the PowerPoint. I mean, I don't know about.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put the PowerPoint up on the screen then.
Having a flashback to, I'm still a little bit embarrassed that when I did the video thing with you guys,
Yeah.
I had to do it from my phone.
Oh, but at least you knew how to do that. Like,
Well, it was like all of a sudden my internet just stopped working and I was in an unfamiliar environment.
hang tight. I'm gonna get my yeah, that's
It worked for a second and then it stopped. Your screen sharing.
oh, it wasn't. I put it down because I didn't want it up because it was sharing that whiteboard thing. You don't want that. Now I'm trying to find my presentation. Okay, I called it Connect and Create PowerPoint. Oh, Lord Jesus. PowerPoint. Connect and Create. Okay, here it is. Woo! Okay, I made like a title page.
Okay.
Um,
I'm not seeing it if you're screen
no, I'm
sharing.
not sharing it yet.
Oh, okay, good. I was like,
Okay, share screen. It says you are screen sharing.
yep. You know how to make it so that the image takes up the whole space. There you go. Beautiful.
There I go.
Come on. I've been teaching on Zoom all year.
I mean, you don't know how to work this yet?
I just say it as politely as possible because sometimes people, you know.
Well, it's weird, like when you get ready to do it, yourself, and it's something different than you're used to doing it. It's like I was on this panel with Shanequa for Emory students, and she had several of us lined up, and I had made this extensive PowerPoint and then realized that other people had not, and that there was a very limited time. And so I was just kind of like, am I gonna share it? Like, what am I gonna do? Like, should I, it was just so kind of nerve-wracking. And so when it was time for me to share it, I said, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and share my PowerPoint, but I may not have time. I just was like, ooh, 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 couldn't get it up in time, it just flustered me. So I just
Right.
started talking, but luckily
Right.
I had on these big, gigantic earrings, and it really helped me seem like very artsy.
I was on that panel too, and I'm going to say I've been on more
Organized.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, I was so excited. I was like, ooh, Emory University. I've been a visiting artist there before in the past, with Linda. What is her name? She does all those mushrooms and everything.
Oh.
Linda, not Linda Mitchell. Linda. I have this scarf. It has certain colors that I like, but I can't seem to get the colors I like to be in.
When I think of mushrooms, I think of Pondra.
Oh yeah, it was a different person. Linda, she taught at Emory for many, many years. I can't think of her name right now, but her name was Linda. Anyhow, she, okay, I have this. Great. But I got to meet Janine Antoni out of the deal.
Oh,
I
nice.
had breakfast with Janine Antoni actually. And she was so cool. She was sharing about being in the Venice Biennale and like doing a project where she was like weaving all of these fibers of things together.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like so inspired. I kind of incorporated that idea into a project that I was working on.
That's really nice.
Yeah, but it was fun to sit and have bagels with Janine Antoni. And so I'd always read about in art history books,
Yeah, that's big time.
Yeah. But yeah, the thing with Shanequa, it was a little, and then she had an emergency and she couldn't be there. And, it was sort of like there was this other lady that was running it. And I don't know, it was just sort of like, I don't know, there was something, there were different times. Anyway, it was great once it got started. And I really just got what an impact you can make on students, because they're all like, some of them are learning from virtual so much. And so
Yeah.
I did your visiting artist thing. I did another visiting artist in Alabama. And anyway, it was a good experience to do that. It really was a good reminder of, how important it is to be a visiting artist these days.
I think that the virtual thing has really opened up a lot more opportunities for participation and educational outreach, as well as, professional development.
Oh yeah. I mean, God, my little nephew who's 11, we have this family Zoom call and he's always coming up with, he does these Google spreadsheets and things like that, and Google things that he wants us to fill out and, you know, interact. And I mean, I'm surprised he's not trying to give us a grade at the end of it, you know?
Oh my gosh.
He's 11.
Wow. Wow.
So let's see. I usually do like to start with us just like kind of like being together. Does that work for you?
Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah. And I want to keep it casual. I don't want to be too crazy, you know.
Okay.
I just want to, like I said, not to step on your format, but to allow people to, you know, interrupt if they want. You know, one kind of not multiple interruptions, but maybe once. I don't know, whatever you think. Honestly,
I think it's perfect. I usually spend a little bit of time. Introducing the show, and then I introduce the guest.
Yeah.
And then you pretty much have the floor. And if you want to interact and like ask questions, you know, you want me to ask questions and start that off, I can. But if you want to do it a little more presentation style and then just let people know that you want them to feel free to jump in, that's fine too.
That sounds good. Yeah, we definitely need to plan something fun.
I like the way you're saying that.
I'm thinking like after I get back from Colorado with my kid, I'll kind of relax.
When are you going to Colorado?
I'm going in the first week of April.
Okay.
Because, you know, my oldest boy went out there to live for a little while to escape coronavirus.
Because he can have outdoor living. Like, is he a skier?
Well, he is now. I mean, he went there at the end of the semester just to be, you know, not to be in college anymore and to be, you know, living life, doing something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. What's the painting behind you?
It's a photograph. You know how my office is so terrible? Well, I just brought this in.
I never saw your office.
Oh, I took everything out of it a couple years ago. Well, no, 2009. Yeah, I guess that is a couple years ago. In 2019, because there was some sort of mildew problem with these offices.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I was going to be doing something else. And so I just slowly started taking stuff out because I didn't want my books in here.
Right.
To get contaminated. And so anyway, I was like, oh, I need some sort of backdrop. So I brought this photograph from my house.
Nice.
I should probably relocate it somewhere. It's at least it's not all white wall.
I love your dress in this one, by the way, in this image.
Oh, thank you. The Mary Byrd might show up.
What did you say happened? I feel like you posted something that happened to her.
Oh, she had pneumonia for a while, but she's recovered.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm going to start trying to coordinate our Facebook Live because every once in a while that takes a lot longer than I think. Oh,
gosh.
I know. I was like, how do I do both things at the same time? Welcome to Connect and Create. Hi, Roxy.
Hi there. How are you?
Good.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Well, wait, we can't quite see you, but
no,
nice
I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna keep the photo up since
All right.
I'm running around in my studio today.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to Connect and Create. And it's wonderful to have you all here. We have a really fabulous guest today, Shannon Morris. Anything you'd like to say, Shannon? I was looking to see what episode. I was just 50. It's 52, I think, this episode.
53.
It's 53. Oh my word. Yeah, it's 53. Exactly. Exactly. So welcome everyone. And I'm Karina Sephora, and welcome to Connect and Create episode 53. This has been happening for pretty much a year. And this show began in March of last year. And it was really out of kind of missing being able to go out and about and go to art openings and interact with other artists and creative individuals. And so a friend of mine started a program called The Daily Huddle, two friends of mine, and I was a guest on that. And I thought, this is the coolest thing. We need Zoom artist talks all the time and show them on Facebook Live. And so I created this program called Connect and Create. And I'm very grateful and thankful. I received a generous grant from the Fulton County Council for the Arts, and that's been a large part of what has funded all the programming for this. And so thank you, Fulton County Council for the Arts. And Shannon, anything you'd like to say before I give your professional introduction?
Well, I'd just like to say thank you for having me, and thank you especially to my former colleague, Josh Kitchens, and to longtime friend and fellow museum worker, Danielle Funderburk. She is the registrar at the Joel Collins Smith in Auburn, in Alabama. So it's a real big treat to have her here. And also Josh is an archivist, which is, you know, a really important aspect of documenting our daily lives and our culture as humans. I mean, it's really cool. So I'm glad to have them both here, and it's exciting to be here.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Shannon, for inviting your peers and coworkers and friends, and thank you all of the rest of you that have joined us here in the Zoom room, and thank you to all of you who are joining us on Facebook Live, and those of you that will be joining us in the future as you see this broadcast. So, you know, Shannon and I have gotten to know each other a lot actually over the last year. And although we would bump into each other at events, we didn't know each other that well. And then I got the idea like, hey, let's connect over, let's do a studio visit. And we've really gotten to know each other a lot since then. So I'm really looking forward to how this conversation will unfold. And without further ado, I'm going to share a little of your professional information. So Shannon is a visual arts administrator, a curator, and a writer specializing in globally relevant topics. And she engages audiences in academic, public, and corporate settings. And as a native Southerner, she shares a particular interest in the issues that face the region's cultural ethos and environment. You like that? Hearing about yourself?
Yeah, I like your emphasis.
Emphasis, yes. And so this passion leads her to work with many of the South's most notable artists. I'm proud and honored to be one of those, with exhibitions reviewed by national and international publications. And currently, Shannon serves as the gallery director of the Mary S. Byrd Gallery of Art, located within the Department of Art and Design at Augusta University, and holds a Master of Arts and Art History from the Savannah College of Art and Design. So thank you so much, Shannon, for joining us. You know, it was wonderful to be able to be one of those artists that had an opportunity to show at the Mary S. Byrd Gallery. And it's been a pleasure. You've been a guest on this show a number of times and interacted with the artists that were here and the speakers. And is there anything that you'd like to share with our audience before you get started with your presentation?
Well, and thank you all again for showing up. And I know it's lunchtime, and so it makes it convenient, but it also makes it, maybe so that you don't want to turn your cameras on, and that's fine if you're eating. I understand. I'm just gonna really, I didn't know who would be here today. I thought there may be a number of artists, and I have a lot of Zoom presentations prepared that I've presented over the course of this year. And, but one question that I always get, oh, Deanna is coming on, is it ends up that I'm having a lot of professional colleagues coming on. But I thought that we may also have a lot of artists coming on. But in either direction, I always get a lot of questions about how do you decide who goes in the gallery, and how do you decide what the exhibitions are. And so I thought I'd put together a quick presentation about that. And speaking particularly today, because I'm here and because this is my primary position, about my work with the Mary S. Byrd. Some of you may know that I do other things, and feel free to raise your hand or go off mute and interrupt me at any time. I don't mind, and we can address anything that you wanted to kind of go deeper in.
Yes. Yeah, of course.
They're having some work done. I relate to that. But I wanted to sort of get started and with just a real presentation of things that I've done at the Mary Byrd, and the way connections happen, and how I value connections with artists, and then how I connect artists with other disciplines, and present stories and ideas that I have through their work. And then talk a little bit briefly about and do a shout out to some of the other arts professionals that I've been able to connect with while at the Mary Byrd. There are other arts professionals, even some in this room, that I've been to connect with, but I'm keeping it just here at the Mary Byrd because otherwise I'd just be all over the place. So without further ado, I'm going to start sharing my screen, the PowerPoint. Okay, so that's just a little bit about me and who I am, and my email if you're interested here at the Byrd Gallery, Augusta. And Kareen has already read this, so I'm just gonna flip to the next slide. Like I said, today is going to focus on my work at the Mary Byrd Gallery. And so people always ask, how do you decide on the exhibitions? And do you just sort of sit around and choose like the prettiest art or something like that? And none of that is true at all. It always starts with the mission of the place. And so, it's very important to lead from that direction for me. So when I came to the Mary S. Byrd, I sort of, they had a very ambitious mission statement, and then I did sort of tweak it to be something that could be doable and that would still allow for engaging the community and promoting regional arts and enriching the lives of students and other individuals who come to the gallery. We do have a community patron group as well. So I'm gonna keep going. So our curatorial, I try to kind of stick to a curatorial program at the Byrd Gallery. We have, our primary audience is of course our students, and then the community surrounding the Byrd Gallery itself, which is in a very specific part of Augusta called Somerville. And intentionally, we support and host a diverse list of artists and visual arts disciplines that are represented in our curriculum. I also personally like to relate to and reach out through art to other disciplines, not just the visual arts. I developed a love for doing that while at Georgia College, which is how I know Joshua Kitchens, because that was the part of my mission there at Georgia College. And so I also developed sort of an interest in how our region as Southerners is currently changing. You know, geographically, because of the influx of population in our region. And so that's something that I often find that other arts professionals, curators, and visual artists are concerned with. And so it's really always been a very a good way for me to link to other artists and to create a dialogue with them, bring them together in form of an exhibition through that. And so it's really become something that's a niche interest for me and that I enjoy and has led me to do a lot of interesting things. And so, to keep going. So in addition to connecting with the curriculum and the community, and just, it's not just about like trying to be diverse for the sake of diversity. For me, it's about creating a program that reflects the population that I'm speaking to. So it's not something that I just came up with all of a sudden, like because of Black Lives Matters or because of anything else. It's something that I've been very passionate about and for a long time, and that I really think that our program and any program should reflect the community that it's in. And so when I go into a place, I look at, you know, what are the statistics? And these are the statistics at the Augusta University. 64% female, not totally unusual for a small college. And then I didn't put the percentages, but this is just sort of the hierarchy of how the population breaks down. And then it's about connecting with people. And because I'm a visual arts curator, my connections, you know, I create connections with artists. I do it through a number of ways. People always ask, you know, how do you select artists? Blah, 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 blah. Well, you know, I've been doing it for about 25 years. So I have a holy host of people that I've connected with. And I've been working in this region for my whole career. So, you know, while I grow my connections and build upon, I also am concerned about building upon the relationships that I create, you know, those that I've created 20 years ago and those that I created more so this year, like with Karina. And like I say, I had known Karina's work. I had seen her in many different venues, like she said. But, you know, if you're an artist, I think one of the best personality traits you can have is to be outgoing and extroverted. And that's a lot of times how I meet people, because I will show up at events and I maybe want to talk to you, or I might be interested in your work, but I'm probably not going to approach you unless we're introduced. But the great thing about Karina and other artists like her is that she just came right up to me and said, hi, you know, I'm, you know, Karina, like I've seen your, you know, I know you're friends with so-and-so and that you did a show for such and such. Like, you know, I just wanted to give you my information. And it doesn't, you know, I so welcome that as a curator, because I don't tend to do that as a person. And I often feel that it's not really my place um, in terms of approaching artists. I don't want to seem aggressive. I just kind of like to do things in a quieter way, but I do appreciate that. And so I think, you know, my advice to emerging and young artists is always just get out there and go up and introduce yourself to someone. Don't hold back. It's never the wrong thing to do. So I'm just going to sort of do a brief history of things that we've produced at the Mary Byrd since my being here. I arrived in July of 2016, and I wanted to sort of start to show you how I connecting my past to this present here at the Mary Byrd. Amy Pleasant is a wonderful and very renowned artist now. In the South. She's Birmingham based, and she's very renowned for her work and shows a lot of places, but I've known her since 1995. So when we were both prior to going to graduate school. So, you know, I can remember when she did these paintings of boxes and how wonderful they were, and how I was intrigued by her fun, like personality. And so when I took this position, I called her and asked her if she would come and present an exhibition at the Mary Byrd Gallery. And so she was really one of our first premier artists to come in, present an exhibition of her work, and start to use the walls as a part of and the exhibition space. And I welcome artists to do things like that. And the next year, I welcomed Shanequa Gay. And forming a relationship with Shanequa was one of the more unique experiences that I've had as a curator, because we just really hit it off personally right away through both our interests and our personalities. We worked with each other very intensely, sort of really on the research that she was interested in at the time, involving printed fabrics, which is something that I've always had an interest in myself. I collect printed fabrics, and I love them. And so I took some students with me to do a studio visit with Shanequa at the goat farm, where Karina also has a studio still, right?
Yes, off mute.
And if you feel like at any time you want to interrupt, you may still.
I have a question now that you have Shanequa's up there. Was that all that was painted on directly on the wall?
Yes.
Wow.
It was all on one large wall. And so when we went to visit Shanequa at her studio, this was us in 2017, that a picture of she and I is us at the goat farm. And this is us meeting for the first time in person after many phone conversations that had been really delightful and fun. And then she said, I want you to come to she was still a graduate student at Georgia State. And so she said, I want you guys to come to Georgia State and see my studio there. And the students also got to see other graduate studios, and it was really exciting for them. But so while they were doing that, Shanequa said, I want to show you something and see what you think. And she showed me this little piece of fabric that she had of this, French toile seam, and she had embroidered one of her hybrid figures onto it. And when she showed me this, there was just something that I was just like, yes, I'm here for this, because I have always really just relished in, for some reason, this type of these sort of scenes, this, you know, English romanticized sort of themes. There's just something about them that I like. And you know, I even have it as part of my everyday wear. Like, like I said, I collect vintage fabrics, and when I saw her hybrid figure on it, I had done a little bit of research on her work, and so I understood kind of where she was going with this. At the time she was making these male hybrid figures, they were both men and stags. They would be running from guns. It's very much, you know, sort of nod to and part of the conversation of what happens to Black men, you know. I mean, as unfortunately, you know, they can seemingly be like hunted by society. She was already doing this prior to this summer. She's been having this sort of conversation through her work for a very long time. And so it dawned on me where she was going with this. And so I said, we need to do this. Like, you need to put this on every sort of surface. You can, you know, you could make dishes with this. You could make fabric. You know, you need to create your own narrative. And so we just started to research the history of printed fabrics and its relevance. And she started to look at it from her own perspective. And so this show turned out really to be a study of what would continue to develop in her work. And it was really exciting for me to be a part of that. And I also think that, that is something that is a role that develops for, it is really played by university galleries. I think it's, you know, to nurture artists who are developing within their career before they launch into this, you know, huge way into the art world. And that's something that Shanequa is definitely in the process of doing. So it was really great to be a part of that. And I look in different ways and different places for artists to work with. And another person that came forward for me through just sort of searching, like, who's doing a McCall Center residency right now, you know, that kind of thing. I will do that as well. Like, so I think, you know, it's important to take a broad perspective of who's doing a residency where, you know, we're not that far away from Charlotte and Augusta. And through that kind of search, I found the work on the artist Stephanie Jolisa Woods. I called her and had a wonderful conversation with her, went to Charlotte. Deanna?
Hi.
Hi. Did you want to say something?
No, I got kicked off for some reason. Now I'm back.
Okay, cool. So when I went to the McCall Center to have a studio visit with Stephanie, it's always nice because one thing leads to another, right? I got to see also the work of Julio Gonzalez, who was also there doing a residency, but wasn't around at the time. but I ended up connecting with him, and then he later had a show at the Byrd. And then when Stephanie came to deliver her work, her husband turned out to be Johannes Barfield. And I thought, well, his work is really interesting. So connecting with him through Stephanie as well led us to have a really wonderful exhibition with him that just happened in the fall, right before we had and that work was very timely. Sometimes things that are planned in advance, am I still with you guys?
Yeah.
Will often become very timely for us within the gallery and start to speak to the, not only to what's happening within the moment in a large way, but at that exact time. I don't know why or how that happens. It's not like we're fortune tellers in the art world, but I think if you just keep kind of following your path and your interest and what you know is right to talk about at the time, then it all becomes, it all works out. Like, it's interesting. So for me, it's about telling stories. And Deanna Serlin is on here. She's a visual artist and the editor, and I don't know, are you the owner or the you have a magazine that allows for people to tell their stories through all of the arts, not just the visual arts. But so I like doing that. And so in 2018, I was contacted by, like I said, I've always liked to tell the stories of other disciplines through the arts. And 2018, I was contacted by the Foundation for Contemporary Arts, which is a foundation that hosts awards that are distributed to artists. Some are through other artist foundations. And they were contacting the Byrd Gallery specifically because we do a lot of these solo shows, and they invite a number of university galleries and small museums to compete for a grant once a year. And we were invited in 2017 and wrote the proposal, and we were awarded the funds for the Ellsworth Kelly Foundation in 2018 for the showing of the work of Bojana Ginn in our gallery. And it was a big honor, and for her and for us, and I was excited to be a part of it. Part of that grant determined my selection of a particular artist, and especially of Bojana, because of her connection to the sciences and also our work that we had done together. That's a feature of one of the installations that was within the gallery at the time. Bojana, she's so cute. I love showing off the people that I work with as well as their work, because they're always so super attractive and it's fun. I just like to give a shout out to everybody. But part of the Ellsworth Kelly Foundation fund was to connect to not only just, show an artist, but how does that artist have a relationship to the university or the institution that you're working with. And because we have a large medical school at the university, Bojana has a medical degree. She was a scientist before she was an artist, and we had her work already at the Georgia Cyber Center, which is another great project that I was lucky to work on during my time here in Augusta. And the images in the blue and black, the 9 monitors that you see on the left, those are her images, her installation at the Cyber Center. And these are some similar ones that were part of the Ellsworth Kelly Award exhibition, Digital Muse. And so through all of these things, it's not like just me and the artist doing this by ourselves. You know, there are other arts professionals working with us. You know, I was really guided through this project and this program by Alexander Thompson, who is program director for the Foundation for Contemporary Arts. And, oh, my mouse just dropped. And when we were working on this project, we were also really lucky enough to have enough of a budget to hire other arts professionals, one of which I hired was Augusta-based graphic designer, Jason Craig, because he has a particular talent for listening to artists and looking at their work and then coming up with even just a font or a design that can really show off what they want to show off and not be about the design, but more about something that enhances their work. He's just so gifted at it. And so I was thrilled because it was something that he was able to help us with. We enjoyed working with him, and Bojana liked the design, which is the most important for us. After my first year in Augusta, I created a program for students called Curatorial Conversations. That was really something I did for 3 years, 2 years after that. That was specifically designed to allow students to start to get their professional practice together and start to think of themselves as working artists, those students that were juniors and seniors and going into the world. And so our initial, our inaugural presenter for that program was Didi Dunphy, who, if you know Didi, she's boundless energy and lots of fun to be around. She is an artist and a curator. She's the director of Linden House in Athens, Georgia. And so she was so great at helping me kick off that program. Then we had Matt Porter, who was, I think he was our last presenter. Yeah, in 2019, he's the curator of education at the Morris Museum of Art. And we also had Megan Schaeffer, who is now owner and director of Hamilton Schaeffer Studio. She works directly with other creatives and small businesses to kind of help them, you know, promote their, gather their website, promote themselves as creative entities. She can do a logo for you. She can do all kinds of things. She's helped me immensely. And sorry, I kind of had those out of order, but I was just like to give everybody credit that works with me, because this is a job that really requires a network. It's something I could never do by myself, and I wouldn't want to. Another person that we've been able to connect with and has helped promote the program and our students is Molly McDowell. She's an art consultant here in Augusta, and she did the jurying for our last juried show before the one that we have currently. And in 2020, of course, everybody knows how we went virtual and things got canceled. We were lucky because we only had to cancel one event, and that was the wonderful exhibition that was going to be happening and put forward by Craig Singletary, or AKA Flux, who's a great Atlanta-based designer and artist. He creates murals. He does design work for corporate institutions, and really a very skilled person that I had worked with on a large design project for one of the interior spaces in the second building in the Georgia Cyber Center. And so his exhibition, when his exhibition was canceled, he then became our first ever virtual presenter at the Mary Byrd Gallery. And he did a wonderful presentation for our graphic design students specifically. I decided that with those students, with those virtual presentations, that I wanted to have sort of a captured audience. And then finally, and coming back full circle, and that's how life often happens, we our last artist who just presented in the Mary Byrd Gallery was Alan Peterson. He did a wonderful, beautiful exhibition called Swarm Memorial. We had worked on it for about a year, and I was so glad that it was able to happen. But I, again, had known Alan since like 1995. So, and in fact, his beautiful wife, Jessica Helfrecht, who is director of the Mint Gallery, got me my first gallery job. And that was before they were even married. So I'm really grateful to have, to be able to keep, continue to do this work, and to always keep expanding myself as an arts professional. I'm always doing something different, and that's been a lot of fun. And last but not least, I just wanted to give a special nod of support to the real Mary Byrd, and that's her in Venice, where I also got to see Deanna and meet her in person for the first time, even though she's someone I'd known on my LinkedIn and through social networking for a while. It's funny how you go across the world to sort of connect with people who you should have met like right in your backyard. But it's been a great sort of whirlwind. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer. And thanks again for showing up.
Great. Well, first of all, Shannon, that was so beautiful to be able to see that whole, collection of different artists and curators and professionals that you've worked with. And I feel really thrilled that I got to be a part of that. So that's what I wanted to say just to start off. And, anyone here, I see we have some messages in the chat. Anyone want to speak directly to Shannon? You could either raise your hand, your Zoom hand, or you can just come off mute because we have kind of a small group.
I can't see the messages, so should I stop sharing? And
yeah, I think that might be.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna open up the chat. Oh, just Deanna saying thanks. So thank you, Deanna, for coming.
Yeah, and Roxy, hi Roxy.
Hi, yeah, I've seen you before here. It's nice to see you.
You're on.
Oh, here, there I am. Hi. Right? Am I muted or am I unmuted?
You're unmuted now.
Okay, good. Okay.
And Jerry, hi Jerry.
I feel so honored. Thanks for coming.
It was a great presentation. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to, I really struggle with what to put forward, because sometimes people give me a topic, and, Karina's really open about just whatever you want to do. It's just sometimes it can be more difficult to think in that way. So maybe I thought, well, I'll just go with her theme of connect and create. And I think, that's something that over this past year, we've all struggled with, not having or feeling like we were connecting, but we were still connecting, but in different ways often.
Mhm.
And I think that's, that's what the art world relies upon. I think that's what life is about, stories, that we're all either telling a story or reading a story or being a part of some story. And that's always something that has interested me as a person. Something I like to do. When I did the Burn Away writers program, I don't know what they're calling it now, but something arts writers is what I think they used to call it. My favorite, not that anybody else wasn't great, but my favorite presenter was Chuck Reese. And when I wrote my piece that Chuck assigned for us, he said, "You have a real cadence to your writing." And I was like, oh, wow. Like, Chuck Reese is saying something nice about me and my writing. And then he said, like, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Fairhope, Alabama." And he was like, "Of course you are."
Great.
That means.
You are.
Jerry, do you have any thoughts about that?
I love Fairhope. I love Alabama. I love the whole Gulf Coast. I
Yeah,
spent 4 years down in Mobile, so
yeah,
I know that whole area very, very well.
yeah,
You'll have a sister down there.
yeah. And when I was growing up, it wasn't so posh, it wasn't so,
No,
it was more, I don't know, wild, like just kind
yeah,
of, uh, I just, imagine in my mind of my childhood, I think of like cypress knee stumps and strangler vines.
you remember the big oak tree that was between Fairhope going down to the beach? I think going through
Yes, near Magnolia Springs.
near Magnolia Springs. Thank
Mhm.
you. I couldn't pull
Yeah.
the name. Yeah,
Yeah, and they did a lot to save it. And,
they
so
needed to save it, but it's horrible now with the fence around it. But
yeah,
yeah, that was one of our hangouts when we were on going back and forth. Yeah, Fairhope used to be I mean, it's still great, but I mean, I was there from 76 to 80. So there was not much going on down there then, being on the bay and down in Fairhope.
no, there wasn't a lot to do. So I think I spent a lot of time in my mind.
Yeah,
That's what, I think that's what can, you know, sort of develop that kind of creative mind for a person. I think there are all different kinds of creative minds. I think your influences are, whatever they are, and however that manifests for you is what it is. But for me, I was 4 years older than my sibling. There weren't any other children in my neighborhood. There was a beach. I had a pet rock. It was huge. I would wash it, like, really care for it. So yeah, I spent a lot of time in my mind and thinking up stories, and I think that does develop a certain kind of creativity, and I still find that I need that as a person. And so I've developed this way of working where, I wake up really early, if I'm going to do something creative, like I'll be in this stage where it's like, 4 a.m. So I can have that time, because nothing happens for me at night. Like some artists work at night, not me.
yeah. First thing in the morning, absolutely.
Yeah. Shanequa Gay was the same way. So we would be up at like 4:30, texting research images and stuff. And like, look what I found, you know? So, hey Danielle, thanks for coming on.
Hello.
Hi.
I don't know if my camera's working. It doesn't seem to be.
You're not working. All I see is black.
Yeah.
There's
Oh, well.
something blocking it.
Yes. It
Danielle,
may not actually be plugged in. But anyway, I was thinking about the two buildings that you showed me, the cybersecurity buildings in Augusta.
yeah.
Everything in there was just, it was so cool. And I was thinking about how you found all those artists and that whole project seemed very intense and elaborate.
Well, the intensity of it was working outside of my comfort zone in terms of not the artist selection part, but with construction management companies and that type of thing.
Yeah.
And it was all government contract. So, for example, I would have to go to a gallery and say, let me take this work and then we'll pay you when it gets to Augusta. Like, how about that?
Yeah.
So that was fun, but again, it was really the same process of what is their mission, and also the building was on a very specific site. The site is on the Bartram Trail.
Oh yeah.
Of Georgia. So, I tried really hard to connect to that, the aspect of the river. It's on the river.
But at the same time, a lot of it seemed to be, or at least to look, slightly more high tech. And I guess because it was in a building with the cyber,
Right. Well, yeah, because it could speak to their mission. That's the new economic driver of Augusta, right? Because they had, their history as a textile factories.
Right.
That, they weren't a farming, they were different from the rest of the South during that period. So they were actually, bringing the cotton in and producing textiles. So, but they're really considering the cyber industry as their new driver, and they wanted the building to look like Apple. It's really cool. It was designed by, Gensler out of Atlanta. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I thought that was a really great project.
Yeah, it's a fun project. And I mean, I have presentations just about that if anybody's interested. So.
Oh, okay.
But I wanted to make this about just the Byrd Gallery because, this is my primary position. I'm here daily and right now. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Roxanne.
Great.
I'll just, I just wanted to say hi. What I liked when you mentioned, like when Karina came in and met you from a gallery, like a director's perspective, how you said, you actually enjoy that when artists come up to you, from an artist perspective, sometimes I always feel like, these directors are probably being bombarded all the time. And so I'm always trying to, respect their space, but it's nice from your perspective saying, no, you love it. Like, come on up, say hi, get to know each other. So, that's nice to hear.
Deanna's the same way, even though she's being quiet today, like she's probably working on some projects or something while she's joining us, but she's also very, open and came right up to me in Venice, so like, hi, I'm Deanna, you remember me, we're connected, blah, blah, blah. And I was very overwhelmed at the time, but then I went, oh, okay. So even if they don't, I like for people to approach me.
Yeah, thanks.
I
Anyway,
think it's,
yeah,
that's why I do it. I mean, right?
nice to hear.
It's
People that
fun.
have some
Yeah.
social anxiety.
Well, and just to be clear, Shannon and I had met a couple times, out and about, and we exchanged, hi, how are you? Little bits and pieces, and I try to have like a little postcard or a business card with some pictures on it, and it's a nice way to connect with people.
Yeah.
And then once the pandemic hit, I'm trying to think. I think actually like either you or Shanequa posted something about a Zoom studio visit, and I had been kind of thinking about that and wanting to approach some people about it. And I thought, well, no time like the present, Karina, but I remember kind of writing you a message and being polite and, like saying if it worked for you, like all that kind of
It's
stuff.
artists on a Zoom studio visit with, so that was cool, and like to show me all around her, her studio with the iPad or something, and also recorded it. And so it was great because I'm reading this cool book with my students right now called 100 Days in the Art World. And it was published in 2020, like November. So it's very recent, and it covers like all of the different jobs you can have within the art world, like, as a manager of an artist's estate, as a whatever. And, it even covers like the different functions that can happen within certain positions. And so one thing that it covered was studio visit with an artist. So I was able to play clips of that, Karina, doing that for my students.
I'm glad it was able to be. What'd you say?
They thought it was fun. Yeah, they thought and I think we started talking about something random because it was very early in the pandemic, and it was it led into this clip of me talking about copper being some sort of something that fights the coronavirus. And I was like, oh, really? Like, Miss Morris, and I was like, oh my God, that was early, blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was probably like, yeah, I should start working more with that. I actually, ironically, am working a bunch with the copper.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting, like all of the different things that we thought in the beginning, and
how temporary it was going to be. For one thing, how it lived on surfaces, Anyone ever washed their groceries? After you saw that ridiculous video about how you had to wash your groceries? God, I did that, I think a total of 3 times. And then I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's not me. It was about 3 times. And then I said, I'm done.
I know. I was like, this is just,
if I get it, I get it. I'm not washing my groceries.
But yeah, that really was a really great time. And I feel like that was really what opened up us getting to know each other. And then, as you mentioned, then there was that one day that I had like a Facebook message, a text, a phone call, and an email from you all at the same time. And I was like, something's going on. But I remember you saying like, wow, I just knew what you had. You were, what'd you say? You were a worker.
A little background story. Ordinarily, I would have a studio visit with someone, and then, maybe a year from that time, we'd produce an exhibition, or we'd start to talk about it after the studio visit, if it suited us both. But we had an exhibition in the works, and one of the artist's studios completely burned down the month prior to that exhibition. So I was it was horrible. And I was so in love with that work. I love this particular artist so much, and I cried for her. So after sort of taking care of her, as much as I could, like emotionally, sort of, sending some coffee package or something, then I was like, who has a lot of work that I could show right away? And Karina, because I knew from that studio visit that she just had enormous body of work, and wouldn't require you know, any sort of production to say, bring this, and this. And it ended up being fabulous and speaking to so many, because her work has so many medias within what she does, was great for our student body and the all the disciplines within our department.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the artist talk was on my birthday too. I always, that's a sign. And Shannon, I know we did those recordings and they were on Facebook Live, but are they still on like your Mary Byrd Instagram page, or?
I think they're on the Facebook gallery. They weren't.
Oh,
they're recorded. They weren't on Facebook Live, but they are recorded. So.
Oh, good. Yeah, we did a series of like mini interviews. I love that thought of it too, rather than the long thing that you'd have to listen to, all these little kind of clips talking about, you know, the work and process and stuff. So wonderful.
Any questions, Josh? You want to chime in on your perspective as an archivist? I don't know if you're
Yeah, I'm still here. Sorry, I'm about to get around getting ready for class myself tonight. I mean, the best thing I could say is like getting to work with Shannon when there was a gallery space near the archives was really great, because there's a lot of great connections you can make between archives and art. And actually some of the work, you know, Shannon was doing at Georgia College helped inspire some of the things we did in the archives too, where we had students create art exhibits and other kind of showings as well. So we did that a couple of times. And that's something I actually talk about a lot as I'm an archival educator now at Clayton State University. I talk about the connection between archives.
Thank you.
Archives and art. So how?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's a really important function of documenting culture, you know, and it's something that because I started as a museum educator, and I was really, like, in my early career, so focused on coming in and connecting everybody with art. You know, like had to everything be in person, and didn't want anything to do with any kind of thing like archiving or you know, anything quiet. But as I have developed more, I'm more interested in the things that Danielle and Josh do, because I think it's an important part of the story, and to have those documents and to have even contemporary culture documented. It's something that I've been really interested in, and have been working on helping people document their private collections and other things recently, because, you know, if you don't have the objects or the images at the ready, it's hard to tell the story. And so I realized that, you know, it's an important function. And I really sort of feel that I'm growing as I've realized that. And so.
Seems like you've created some great teamwork around doing this archiving work yourself, from what I hear too.
Yeah, I like it because it's also allowing me to learn. You know, everything that you do like that, you're learning a lot more about art. And I was actually able to connect with someone that Karina introduced to me, Terrell Clark, who's a photographer, and he helps me do some of the documentation of the work photographically that people might have in a collection. And I'm interested in now also in valuation. So I've been studying appraisal. You know, you're always just sort of developing. As an arts professional, I don't think you can ever kind of get just stuck, because even, you know, doing your own work, it's always progressing, right? Like see Karina and Jerry I mean, I'm just so thrilled to have you guys here, Deanna. I feel like, wow, I have like all the cool people here. Like they, you know, their work develops, you know, like all of you guys. So it's for me the same thing.
That's wonderful. That's a great perspective. And Deanna, was there anything you wanted to comment on or add while you're here?
She might have to check out.
Got to romp around at Art Basel with Deanna, and it was really great. It was kind of similar to what you said about being at in Italy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun because, you know, I have the side to me that's, you know, a little bit more on the outgoing side. And then I have the side to me that's a little more on the quieter
Well,
side.
I'm here. Sorry.
Oh, good. There you are.
You know, you would think after a year of this, I would know how to unmute myself.
There you go. I know.
But I didn't. I'm sorry. So, but no, it's great to, you know, it is great to share art and talk about it. And, you know, I think that something different has happened because of the pandemic, actually. I think that we all are able to communicate on a more global scale, which really makes me happy. Of course, it would make me happier to do this in person, but I think there's something else that's happened. I don't know if you want to talk about that, Shannon. Or if you disagree, it's okay.
No, I don't disagree. I just don't specifically something. The aspect of allowing. I think it allows for greater participation. You know,
well, that's what I was saying. Is sort of for me, you know, to be honest with you, at 12:30 lecture in the middle of my studio day or talk, I couldn't attend previously, right?
Right.
But now I can, because I can be in my studio and I can be with you all.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, there's something actually that's changed. We didn't do that before, right? It wasn't available.
Yeah. I actually have like an aspect of it that I really enjoy. Of course, you know, I can't wait to get back to travel in a more actively and seeing everybody in the galleries and stuff. But I do enjoy this, and I hope we keep this sort of format open to some extent in order to promote this dialogue with each other, because it's so cool for me, you know. I mean, and there's something about like just being able to connect with people in this way. Oh, Danielle saying thanks for the great program.
Yeah.
I think it's about time up.
Yeah, we are a little over, but I didn't want to interrupt.
Okay.
I didn't have a huge schedule today. I mean, I have plenty to do as always.
Thanks, Shannon.
I was
Thanks,
enjoying the
Karina.
dialogue.
I'm gonna
Thanks,
bounce off.
Roxy. Yeah,
Okay, take care.
Roxy's-
Thanks, Alan.
Thanks
Good to
both,
see y'all.
all of you. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for coming,
Thanks,
Deanna.
Corinna. Thanks, Shannon. Good to see you.
Great to see you,
Bye.
Jerry.
Bye, Deanna.
Yay.
Yay.
That's the Alabama crew. Oh,
All right. That's so
all right.
awesome.
Well, take care, everyone that's watching on Facebook, and come back next week. We've got a wonderful artist, and thank you so much, Shannon. It's been great having you, and take care, everyone.